Hi! Oh my goodness. I had a little bit of a tech issue, but I've got it. We're all set. So let's get going because I was really getting stressed out there. All right. So did you know that play isn't just fun? It's actually one of the most powerful ways to build literacy skills. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to look at when kids act out stories, use their imagination, and engage in playful storytelling, they strengthen comprehension, vocabulary, and creativity. Now, you might be asking yourself, why does this matter? Because reading isn't just about the words on a page, it's about the experience of stories. It's experiencing stories. Today, we're diving into how play-based learning can help bring books to life and make reading an adventure for your child. If you're ready to join me, then give me a thumbs up and let's get started. All right, so we're going to talk about, here's what you're going to learn today. You're going to discover how role-playing classic tales deepens comprehension. You're going to learn the power of storytelling games to boost language skills and how fun low prep activities that turn reading into an immersive experience. Now, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up. Welcome to Readers in the Making. I'm Trina Debris, and I'm excited to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is reading and play. So today, let's look at how role-playing classic tales really deepens comprehension. So why are we acting out? Why do we want to act out things for kids? When kids get to step into the roles of the characters, they get to be in their shoes of some of their favorite characters, they engage with the story. It goes on a deeper level. Acting out a fairy tale or a folk tale or a fable requires them to think about the character, think about the character's motivation, think about how the character's feeling, think about what the character might do next. They're thinking about the plot structure. They're thinking about all of these things, all of these key elements of strong reading comprehension. So let's look at some examples. So some examples of things that we can do is we can do things like fairy tale freeze, where kids act out scenes from a book and freeze at key moments when discussing what happens next. We can also do switch the ending. We can let kids act out an alternative ending to a well-known fairy tale or fable. That can be so fun. They can do something different. So maybe instead of having Rapunzel put down her long hair and then having her cut her hair off or whatever. Maybe she puts down her hair and she climbs down the ladder herself, and maybe she gets to keep all of her hair instead of cutting it all off. And who knows? It can just be so many different endings to stories, and I'm just using fairy tales and folk tales for the fun of it. Another idea is a story charade, acting out scenes without words and have others guess the story. These can be really fun things that really get kids motivated and engaged. The thing is, we want to encourage kids to actually even use props. If you're at home, you want them to use props. You want them to dress up. You want them to make their own paper puppets or whatever they have. The more interactive it is, the deeper the learning is. If you're in the classroom and you're like limited on time and supplies, then it's okay to still do more of like a reader's theater type of thing. But we can still have kids act out scenes with their body, because when we're using more than just one sense, one of our five senses, it actually helps us to remember things and to better understand things. All right, let's talk about the next part. So we're going to talk about the power of storytelling games to boost language skills. So why is this important? Storytelling isn't just about reading. It's about making connections between ideas. It's expanding vocabulary. It's strengthening of verbal skills. When kids create their own stories, they practice sequencing events, using descriptive words, and structuring sentences naturally. Let's look at some ideas. So we can do once upon a time. You start a story and have each person add a sentence to keep it going. This can be a great thing to do in the home. It can also be a really good thing to do in the classroom. Maybe on your way to lunch, you start a once upon a time story with your kids. Mystery object storytelling, giving kids a random object like a toy. It could be a household item, it could be a classroom item, and challenge them to weave it into their fairy tale. So how would they weave in an eraser into their fairy tale? How would they weave in a couch into their fairy tale? Another idea is to pass the story dice. Roll dice with, it could have pictures, it could have words, it could still be with numbers, and you can create a story based on what lands face up. So if you kept your regular dice and you did, 1 through 5, you might actually determine how many characters are going to be in this fairy tale, or you might determine how many different settings you're going to have, or how many different costume changes are going to be. You can still use the dice to make it fun. All right, here's a tip. Encourage kids to use expressive voices, sound effects, or even record their stories to listen back to later. This could be a really fun podcast episode for kids to do. I've always thought podcasts could be so fun in the classroom. All right, let's look at section number 3. Fun prep activities that turn reading into an adventure. All right, so by adding hands-on reading time, you are creating stronger connections between the story and the child's imagination. Have you heard anything that you're thinking, this sounds great? I'd love if you would like this page or subscribe to this channel. All right, let's talk about some ideas that we can do. So the first one is fairy tale makerspace. I think this can be so fun where you take a story, any fairy tale, it's Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty, any of these fairy tales, and you take a look at the problem in the story, and then you have kids ask questions about the problem and brainstorm solutions. Then they're thinking about solutions, and then they can create solutions using simple materials. It could be Legos, it could be Play-Doh, it could be craft sticks, it could be pipe cleaners, it could be Legos, it could be anything like that. And then they are testing out their solutions. They're revising as necessary. They're making a different iteration, and they're learning through productive struggle, which can be really important. I won't go on another side path. All right, we can also look at story path adventure. So we can create a simple obstacle course that follows the journey of a character, like climbing over the mountains for Jack and the Beanstalk. It could be, traveling to the ball for Cinderella. So we want to create this story path where they're talking and also moving their bodies. This would be a great thing to do outside during recess, or just to take them outside for a break if you're a teacher. It would be a little easier probably to do if you're a parent. And then finally, sensory story bins. Fill a bin with objects related to the story. It could be like gold coins for Rumpelstiltskin. It could be a red cape for Little Red Riding Hood. And let kids explore while they're reading. All right, here's a tip. When kids are physically engaged with a story, they retain details better. They make personal connections, and they develop a true love of reading. All right, so let's do a quick wrap up. What have we talked about today? We've talked about role-playing classic tales deepens comprehension and engagement. Storytelling games build vocabulary, sequencing skills, and creativity. And finally, hands-on playful activities make reading an immersive adventure. Want to make reading even more magical? Grab my freebie below. It's a free fairy tale, folktales, and fable lessons. It's in my big 6-week unit, but this one is free, and it's one lesson, and you get the anchor charts for all 3 different genres, and it includes a lesson plan, a sorting activity, and anchor posters to introduce these 3 genres. So much fun. And a final note, let's show kids that reading isn't just something you do, it's something you experience. Through play, we can make stories unforgettable. So if you liked this content, give me a thumbs up. That lets me know that you want more of this content. Also, is this a good time for you? I know I've switched and flopped about the times, and I've also kind of messed up my channel on YouTube. So I'm just a little engine that could. I'm going to keep going. So you and I together, creating joyful memories and moments for kids. Readers in the making, one page at a time. Bye for now.